Welcome back everybody, and welcome to a video that has been requested by many of you guys for quite some time. Yes, it is finally time for me to introduce you to my bikepacking setup. So if you don't know me, for the past 3 years or so I've been traveling the world on a bike, mainly in Asia and parts of Africa. I've been to countries like Iran, Mongolia, Afghanistan, China, you name it. But I never actually showed you what gear I used and so on. And so today is the day I'm gonna introduce you to my bike. It doesn't have a name, but I think it's pretty dialed in. Over the years I've learned quite a few tricks and quite a few nice gadgets I acquired to make the life on the road a bit more comfortable. So let's dive in. Now first things first, we've got the frame, which is the Tout-Terrain Outback Explorer 29 Plus. Tout-Terrain is a manufacturer based in southern Germany, and they make really solid bikes that can take you around the globe. Now, full disclosure, I am part of their adventure team, so essentially I'm sponsored by them. I did get this frame for free, or the bike for free, but I don't have to sell it to you or something. I can form my own opinion about it, but it is definitely a solid choice. So, as you can see, the frame is a mountain bike frame. However, it does not have any suspension built in to the frame itself. But for that we have some high quality steel. Now the advantage of steel, of course, is that it's a bit more comfortable than aluminum. And you can also get it fixed anywhere in the world if you happen to get a crack or break something, which is very unlikely. But if it does happen, you can go to a local welder, even in a village on the other side of the world, and get it fixed there. Now the disadvantage, if you want to call it that, if you're a weight weenie, is that it's a little heavier, but in the grand scheme of things, I don't think you're going to notice it. But yeah, it's a really comfortable frame. Also, it's a fairly upright position because I have switched out the stock handlebars for some handlebars that are a bit more swept back. So I have quite an upright seating position, because if you spend an entire day in the saddle, you're not going to be hunched over the entire time, but rather sit up straight, which makes it a lot more comfortable. So now let's talk about the fork. So this is the Tout-Terrain Adventure carbon fiber fork. So it's not made out of steel, in order to save some weight of the overall setup. Carbon fiber still is very solid and hard to break, but if you have to be a little more careful compared to steel. If you load it on a minibus or something, you should probably protect it, because unlike steel you cannot really repair it or weld it. But it is very solid and I'm not too worried about it. And the weight savings are probably worth it. Next up, let's talk about the drivetrain, which is a little bit special on this bike, because we have a Pinion C112 gearbox. So we don't have a traditional chain and derailleur setup, but instead we have all the gears covered inside of this little box here. And the advantage of that is, of course, it is fully sealed, so you don't really have to worry about the elements. And there's also little to no maintenance. Only really once a year you have to do a little oil change, which is completed in a couple minutes. So you really don't have to worry about it at all. Now if we take a closer look at the drivetrain, you will see that we do not have a traditional chain, but rather a Gates carbon belt. And the advantage of a belt over a chain is that it's pretty much maintenance free. You don't have to constantly clean and lube it. And it's also going to last you a long time, probably 10,000 kilometers, if not more. But that being said, if you go on an expedition in some foreign country, you should probably pack a spare one, because you cannot find these at a random roadside bicycle shop. So just that you're safe in case it does break, which is very unlikely though. Now let's talk about the tires. So these are 29-inch tires, and the model is the Schwalbe Johnny Watts LR. And I feel like these are pretty underrated tires, because first of all, they have a very nice profile. In the center we have pretty dense knobs, which smoothens out the ride on asphalt, but still we have these fat knobs on the side, so you get good traction on unpaved roads. And also another point is that they are really puncture proof. I haven't had a single puncture with them yet. And compared to the other Schwalbe models, which have this massive rubber insert inside of the tire, which weighs a lot and slows you down quite a bit, these one have a smaller puncture protection thread, but it's still really bomb-proof, I would say. As I said, I haven't had a puncture, so I can highly recommend them. On the front I'm running 2.6 inch tires and on the back 2.35 inch tires. Maybe a little overkill on the front, but I like having a smooth ride and I'm not racing, so I don't mind if I'm a little slower. Next up, let's talk about the saddle. So over the years I've tried quite a few different saddles. Haven't found the perfect one yet, but this is probably the most comfortable one so far. This is the Sally Anatomica leather saddle, and it's pretty comfortable if you're in an upright seating position. And the advantage of the leather is that over time it kind of shapes itself according to your seat bones, and so even a long day in the saddle will be rather comfortable compared to a rubber saddle. But if you can, you should probably just try out random saddles you have or your friends have, because everyone's seat bones are different and maybe a rubber saddle will actually fit you better. Next up, the cockpit. So as I said, I switched out the stock handlebars for these swept back ones. These are the Ergotech City Cruiser, and I like the comfortable upright seating position, as I mentioned, for those long days in the saddle. And it also gives you a nice view overlooking everything instead of being hunched over the bars. And then we have the Ergotech grips. I believe they are the GP ones. These have a nice ergonomic profile, so they're also very comfortable. Oh yeah, the disc brakes. These are Magura hydraulic brakes. And I should have made the switch to hydraulic brakes earlier, because they're just so much easier, so much more powerful. You don't need to constantly adjust them like with the mechanical wire brakes. So can highly recommend getting some hydraulic disc brakes. And now the shifter. As you can see, this is a twist shifter, 12 gears. Another advantage with the Pinion is that the gear range is super broad. You have a really low gear, so that means you can go up pretty much any hill you want, no matter how steep it is. And with this shifter you can also shift while stationary, which can be really nice if you're standing on a steep hill or at a traffic light. You can just shift without having to pedal or move forwards. Now it is time to talk about the bags and the racks. Let's start at the front. So here we have a massive bag, which is held up by Jack, the bike rack, which you can see here. It's a really genius but super simple rack. It attaches here at the handlebars. It's super easy to install, really quick to take off, and it is made out of steel, and it has a little bit of a flex, which is great because if you're transporting something sensitive like electronics in your front bag, this kind of dampens the ride and protects it. Now the front bag that I'm rocking is the Recce Works DX25. If you've seen my first video of the recent China trip, you will remember that I met the creator of this bag in Shanghai. Shout out to Luke, who designed this really awesome bag. I actually really enjoy using it. Now what I love about this bag, first of all, is the volume. I believe 25 liters, but it might even be more of that, because you also have these really cool side pouches. At the front you have this rubber, the spongy strap where you can strap in a baguette or additional clothes, a rain jacket or something. And also what I love is that it's waterproof. Let's take out the main bag so you can cinch it up. And inside here we actually have a completely waterproof dry bag. Let me take it out. So as you can see, it's really easy to take everything out and take it with you when you're going to a hotel, restaurant, store or whatever. And it's as easy to put it back in. But what is great, as mentioned, is that it's waterproof and is its volume. So what do I have in here? First of all, we've got my laptop, MacBook Air, 13 inches to edit all the videos. Then toiletries. Then my stove. So this is my current cooking kit. We have a titanium pot, a gas cartridge, 230 grams, Then the stove is the BRS 3000T. It's absolutely tiny, but it's actually really solid, does a good job. Then some really cool accessories. This is an adapter for the stove, so you can also use these longer cartridges that you often find in, well, not Western countries. They're also a bit cheaper, so that's really cool that you can also use the stove, not just with this threaded mount, but also with the other one. Then another cool accessory is this refilling adapter. So once again, if you have a half empty or two half empty cartridges, you can connect them with this tool and then fill one into the other. So you, instead of two, you will have one full one. Then just some little cleaning thingy. And in here is a flint and steel. I also have a lighter somewhere to light the stove. And that is pretty much my cooking kit. Now, right now, this is a rather minimalist and lightweight setup. But if I were to go on an expedition in some remote place, I would instead or additionally bring a fuel stove, a petrol stove, because you can get petrol anywhere in the world, while you may not get gas cartridges everywhere in the world. And also those petrol fuel stoves manage high altitude and very low negative temperatures much better than this little gas stove. Next up, we have a little tech pouch. Nothing special, just some batteries, cables, camera filters and so on. And then clothes. And now this is where you can save a lot of weight. So I probably should have mentioned that right now this is my summer setup. And I'll explain later why I like the setup a lot, because it's very versatile for all kinds of temperatures. But right now it's a rather lightweight setup. And that also explains why I'm carrying so few clothes. So here I only have pretty much 2 spare underwear, 1 spare pair of socks, then a towel, 1 long sleeve fleece hoodie, 1 pair of shorts, 1 pair of long pants where I'm wearing right now. And that's pretty much it already. So I think you don't really need that many clothes. I do wear some merino wool, so it doesn't get as smelly as quickly and it's rather quick drying. But I always think that if you need more clothes, you can just buy them wherever you are. Unless you're like wearing special bike clothes, which I don't. You can find anything really anywhere. So rather bring less and buy more if you need it than bring too much and you're not gonna wear it. Up next, tent stakes. And then we've got a CNOC water pouch. Really like this design because you can fill it from either ends. So if you have a shallow stream, you can remove this part here and then run it like this through the stream and get 2 more liters of water that you can carry. Then ebook reader, and last but not least, some sunscreen. And that's it for the front dry bag. Now in these side pouches, I carry mainly some layers. So this right here is, I believe, the Patagonia Houdini windbreaker. It helps a lot when it's windy and cold because of that. And also in here I have a small little solar panel. Not sure of the brand. It says Believe Solar. I bought it when I was in China. But yeah, it folds up really compact and is pretty good actually. And of course, with a solar panel, you're much less reliant on power plugs having to recharge your batteries in restaurants or hotels. You can do it whenever it's sunny. But I don't usually use it while riding because it's often hard to get the right angle or something. Usually when I take breaks, I use it. On the other side, I have some more rain gear. So this is also made in China. I bought it in China. I believe the brand is called Asta Gear. Rain jacket and then rain pants. These are, I believe, by Montbell. Yeah, I think I bought them in Japan. And that's pretty much it for the front bag. So yeah, I really love this bag. It's really high quality. Can recommend it. Now here at the cockpit, I've got 2 feed bags. First one from Revelate Design. Really comfortable, easy to use. Probably fits a 1.25 liter bottle. And then also you've got some side pouches. They can keep some trash or this pressure gauge. Then on the other side, I've got a massive one, once again by Recce Works. This is called the Monster Munch, and it really is massive. You can fit so much in here. So right now I've got a big Nalgene. You can probably fit a 2-liter one in there. Then also in this pouch you can fit a bunch of more stuff. Here I've got my Sawyer squeeze water filter. Really happy with it. So you can pretty much drink any water anywhere in the world. Then power bank by Anker, 20,000 mAh. Good enough for me. You can also charge it, because here I mount my phone onto this quad lock mount, so I can often just charge it while riding. And I also keep my action camera in here. This is the DJI Osmo Nano. I like this tiny form factor because it comes with a head clip, which really easily attaches to your head, and then you can get really nice POV shots without putting in much effort. And I guess here I mount another camera, usually my Insta360 action camera, to get the interactions all on video. And another thing I forgot to talk about is the mirror. It is a life changer, honestly. Once you have a mirror on your bike, you will never ever ride without one ever again. You just simply always have everything in view, and you can fold it away. So if your bike tips over, it doesn't break. Yeah, highly recommend getting a mirror. Now in the center of the bike, you can already see a big frame bag. But first, here is also where I carry my tent poles. I'll talk about my tent in a bit, but I think this is a good place to keep your poles because they're not in the way. And if you were to crash, they would probably survive it because they're pretty well protected here. And then on the top tube, I also carry my lock. This is the ABUS Border Light folding lock. I think it's a good compromise between weight and security. But of course, it's a nice bike. You're probably gonna want to keep an eye on it if you're in a larger city or in any western city, really. So yeah, but it's good to have a lock just to have a little more peace of mind. And now the frame bag, which I absolutely love. This is the Rockgeist 52 Hertz welded roll top closure frame bag. So as you can see, first of all, it's massive, but it is also waterproof. And in here I usually keep my tools in a tool bag. So in there I got tire patches, multi-tool, spare tube, and so on. And then I also carry my spare belt in there and some spare spokes. Additionally, I have some more straps, then a rubber band for some little workouts. It's actually pretty versatile. You can do a lot of stuff with it. And then tire pump. This is the Lezine something. And yeah, that's pretty much it. But there's still a lot of space in there. So this is where I keep all of my food usually. I can easily pack a week's worth of food in there, maybe closer to 10 days. So really love this frame bag and can highly recommend it. Now on the rear of the bike, I have another rack, and this is the Restrap switch rack. It's a bit hard to see, but it's only been released recently and I'm a big fan, I must say. First of all, because it attaches to the axle, so you can carry quite a bit of weight on it. And also it's a very simple design, very lightweight, made out of aluminum. Here we have a platform and then it attaches to the seat tube. Then here on the side we've got just regular mounts, bosses for screws. So I carry a dry bag or 2 dry bags on some regular cargo cages, strapped down with some Voilet or China copy straps. On one side I carry, I believe, my quilt and a pillow. So this is my pillow, the Nemo Philo Elite, I believe it's called. And then a quilt, which I also bought in China. I believe the brand is called Aegis Max or something. But I'm quite happy with it. Then on the other side, same story. Another dry bag, Sea to Summit dry bag, by the way. I believe they're called just lightweight dry bags. And in here I carry my tent, which is the Durston X Dome, which I've been using for quite some time now. And it's probably the most famous, popular one-person tent right now on the market. The tent poles are made out of carbon fiber, so the whole setup is super lightweight, weighs only about 1 kilogram, and it's still quite solid in high winds. It's double walled, which means you can also pitch it without the rain fly if you have a hot night or clear skies that you want to see. And yeah, it's actually not super pricey compared to other ultralight tents, so I can highly recommend it once again. And now on the platform of the top rack, you can probably already guess what it is. This is my sleeping pad, for the summer at least. So this is just a regular foam foldable sleeping pad. What I like about it is, well, you can see how quick and easy it is to deploy. You don't have to inflate it. And the advantage, of course, also is that you cannot get punctures. Now, there are some downsides to the foam pad, of course. First of all, it is very bulky, as you can see. And secondly, it's not as warm as the inflatable sleeping pads. But this is where the point of the whole versatility comes into play. Not just of the rear rack, but also of the whole bike and how I came up with the plan pretty much. So if it were winter instead of summer, I could get rid of the pad. And now I have still a massive platform right here where I could probably strap a 40-liter dry bag or so, which can carry much more clothes, a much warmer sleeping bag, and so on. Even these ones, I could probably get the ones that are almost twice as big on here. And if we go to the front, right now my fork here is naked, but if I needed more space for more gear, I have more bosses here for screws where I can put cargo cages or install another rack, and then I could carry another 30 liters or so comfortably on the fork. Right now I have these, I think they're called anything cages or something, where you can put another strap into, and then you could strap water bottles, which would be a good idea for the summer. So you could carry another 2-liter water bottle on each side. Speaking of water bottles, on the down tube I have another cargo cage here with a massive Clean Canteen stainless steel water bottle. These are really nice because, well, they're super durable stainless steel. And if you want, you can get an insulated version, which will keep your drinks warm or cold. Could be nice during summer, but I actually don't use it that much during the day because, well, it is on a down tube and it takes a bit longer to fill it up, take it out. And it's much easier to get the bottles from the feed bags. But at the end of the day, it's nice to fill it up, to have extra water for the camp. Now, if so far you've been wondering what is keeping my bike upright, this is my self-made carbon pole stand. The problem with many heavy bikes, well, right now my bike is not that heavy, maybe 25 kilograms without food and water. But if it were heavier, with the traditional kickstands that are mounted at the rear wheel, they often break because of the weight or dig into the ground, and then your bike falls over. So I simply picked up a carbon fiber tent pole, one of those for pyramid tents, and made it the right height. And then also at the top I added this action camera adapter to quickly mount my camera, so now it also doubles as a selfie stick. And because of the physics, how the weight is contributed, this is a much better option than the traditional kickstand, at least when you have a heavy bike. And it makes life a whole lot easier when you're taking a break or packing up your bike in the morning or evening. Yeah, I can recommend it once again. So I believe this is it when it comes to the bike. Now, additionally to the bike, I wear a hip bag. This is the Restrap hip pack, I believe it's called. And I like it because it's another roll top closure, so it is waterproof. And in here I keep some tech stuff, like my drone. This is the DJI Flip. What I like about this drone is that it's partly autonomous. So it has some AI tracking features and auto flight modes, so you can pretty much just put it on your hand and it will follow you automatically, do some fancy tech stuff and ride you while you're filming. But I also do have the controller if I want to get some other landscape shots or something where you don't have an AI mode for. And then other than that, I have some headphones, some Anchor power wall plug cables, and my headlamp. On my bike I don't have any lights because I tend to avoid cycling in the dark, but here I have a night core headlamp and that's good enough for my use. Then I also have a Garmin InReach Mini 2, just for peace of mind, a satellite SOS device. So if you ever get in trouble in the middle of nowhere where you don't have cell service, you can call for help using this thing. But same, just like with the drone, with these things, you kind of have to check the regulations for each country. Because in India, for example, they are banned. And if they catch you at the border with it, they'll confiscate it. And then I also have a little pocket knife in here. And that's pretty much it for that. And I think that's it for everything. Did I forget anything on the bike? Maybe the pedals. So these are just regular mountain bike flat pedals, because the majority of the year I simply wear sandals. These are Bedrock Cairn 3D sandals. Really durable, really comfortable, and the advantage, of course, you don't get smelly feet and you can cross rivers, streams without having to take your shoes off. And other than that, the clothing, just regular stuff. This is this sun hoodie some of you inquired about. This is the Montbell Cool Hoodie. I like it because, well, it's breathable, protects you from the sun, has a hood, has a zipper if it's extra hot, has more pockets on the side. And yeah, if you're ever in Japan, they're extra cheap over there. And with that being said, I think that's all. I'm going to leave links for everything in the description, and on my website you can find more info about camera gear and so on. But I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or suggestions, leave them in the comments. And yeah, I'll see you soon on the road. Goodbye.